Okay, hello everybody. Before I start the lesson, I'm going to wait for the chat to populate. And today, I will be working with Rick Latham, Advanced Funk Studies. How you doing, Bob? Randy? Troy? Hello, Matt. You didn't get the, you have this book, Troy? Funk Studies? Advanced Funk Studies with Rick Latham. I'm going to start his section very simple. I like the way he projects it, how he builds. So we're going to start with the first 6. However, I'm going to add my technique to this. Who is this? Troy, you said you're going to buy the stick control, the formulas. You never did. I'm sorry, I forgot to email you. I will email you this after the lesson, and I do apologize. Now, we're going to work with the first 6, okay? And we're all in a 16th note formation. The 16th note formation is 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4, E, and the. Now, you have to follow a key here. I didn't present a key. On number 1, I have my right hand on the hi-hat, like so. And on the first space, or the space below it, I have the snare drum. Notice there is no accents. So I'm going to simplify this, and then I'm going to add to it. I think Rick did a magnificent job. I think this book is iconic in the drum book community. This book is available on Hudson Music and will be available sometime in April on my site. Okay, so you could purchase either or site, or wherever music stores, or wherever Amazon or whatever sells them. All right, so let's get back to the lesson. And there's 2 voices with the first line. It's the hi-hat with the right hand, or the left hand, because we're going to do these open-handed. Open-handed, I mean starting with the right or starting with the left. Okay? So the first one's simple. 2 voices. Snare drum voice and the hi-hat voice. Again, the counting system. It's going to be 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4, E, and the. Now, I played that the way it's written in the book, okay? There's no accents. He's given you a sense of the things that he's going to be using with the bass drum and accents and whatever. Some sort of pattern. I consider this in the top, if I'm going to play this over and over again, an ostinato pattern. 1. Now, that's just a rhythmic formation. He doesn't have any accents here, so I'm going to apply an accent as a backbeat on 2 and 4. 1. So 2 different ways, okay? With the accent and without the accent. Now that's the first form, and it's a right hand lead. So I have 1, E, and a 2, E, and a 3, E, and a 4. That's with the accent. Without the accent, 1, E, and a 2, E, and a 3, E, and a 4, E, and a. Okay, so now let's reverse it. That's a right hand lead. So we're crossing over like this. Now we're going to play it here, the left hand part. No accents. 1, 2, 3, E, and the 4, E, and the. Okay, now let's drop the accent on 2 and 4. 1, E, and a 2. 3, sorry, Rick. 4, E, and a 1, E, and I missed 2. 3, E, and a 4, E, and We all have that. Understand that, gentlemen? You want a consistent sound in those voices. That's the objective. And it's a simple pattern right now. It's going to become complicated eventually. Because we're going to go through Rick's exercises and we're going to add to all of these patterns. Now, let's go to line 2. Again, no accents. Okay, fine. Now, the guys who are members of my site, we've already went over something like this, okay, as the paradiddle ostinato. So we all know that. It's presented here, however, between the two voices, the hi-hat and the snare drum, without any accents. So I'm going to do this right-handed first, without accents. Then I'm going to pop an accent on the count of 2 and 4. Now that's not defeating his purpose. I'm just jumping the gun somewhat. He does a magnificent job in this book. It's really a great book. Okay, number 2, again, 16th note counting. No accents. 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4, E, and No accents. That's the right hand lead. Now we're going to do left hand lead. 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4, E, and So we have right hand and left hand lead. Now let's, hey Joe, let's nail an accent on the counts of 2 and 4. We're going to do this now right-handed, but this time I'm going to put an accent on 2 and 4 because it's going to give me not a groove, but a funk feel. 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4, E, and again. Now, it's very important that you balance the voices. You don't want to hear this. You see? You don't want to hear 1, E, and. We don't want that yet. And you want to maintain a balance of the voice with the accent. You already noticed, guys. Now, we're going to do without accents, left hand lead. 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4, E, and Now, notice how I made the voices constant. I start my sound with my right, with the hi-hat and then the snare, and they're constant all through the pattern. Okay, now let's drop an accent on 2 and 4. We're going to go 1, E, and 2, E, 3, E, and 4, E, and E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4, E, and We will have that, gentlemen. That's the first 2. Now, I really like the next guy. Okay? It's a offset of a paradiddle on 1. The term, I don't know what term I should use. I'd rather not use the term paradiddle here because they're just 16th notes grouping on their voice. Now you look at number 3, you have 1, E, and 2, E, and, 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4, E, and 1, E, and both right-handed and left-handed, and there's no accents, and I don't want to put an accent on here because this becomes like a fatback eventually. In the term fatback, I don't really know exactly how it came into view, the term. But when you're playing a fatback, you're accenting, but you're not accenting 2 and 4. Maybe occasionally. But that gives you that offbeat or syncopated feel. So that's where this comes in. So that was number 4. Now number 5 Again, two ways, with and without an accent. So let's have line 5. 1 E, and that's my ding in the bong, a hi-hat. 4 E, there you go, easy. 4 E, and 1 E, and 2 E, and 3 E, and 4 E, and now notice you don't see me doing this, because that is not what's written. But eventually, you get further into the book, that's going to come into view. All this is just an introduction to his patterns that's up and coming. Okay, we're going to have a grand old time with all these patterns. I believe there's 12 of them altogether. I think. Let me see. Great book, very iconic. Hold on. All right. He first off gives, I think, 19 different patterns. Okay? No. They're exercises. There are 19 different patterns. And we're going to go all through them. We're going to interpret these the way Rick wants them presented, okay? And then we're going to go with the fixed hi-hat patterns, open hi-hat, 16ths, and accenting all these different variations. But anyway, we're on number 5, without accents. 1 E, and all the same sound. 3 E, and 4, an accent. 1 E, and we go accent on 2 and 4. 1 E, and 2 E, and 3 E, and 4 E, and that's right-handed. Now you're going to do it left-handed. 1 E, and play, boom, chang, chang. 1 E, same sound. 1 E, and 2 E, and 3, accent. 1 E, and 2 E, and 3 E, and 4 E, and 1 E, and 2 E, and 3 E, and 4 E, and I messed up on that last and. All right, do we all understand all of this, guys? That was number 5. That was up to number 5. Now, number 6, again, is straight 16ths. This time, the snare drum is going to shift over to all the ands. 1 E, and 2 E, and E, and 4 E, and 1 E, and 2, 3 E, and 4 E, and no accent. Eventually, we will put the accents is going to what is going to give you the feel of the pattern. This is just the basic foundation for each pattern. Now we're going to do it left-handed again. First time. 1 E, and play E, and 1 E, and 2 E, 3 E, and 4 E, and now let me give you some advice here. I want to continue on these lessons because the book is really good. And then I have my own lessons, and plus I have all these guys like Dave Stanek, his book, Mastering the Tables of Time. I had promised him for 2 years now. I haven't gotten to it. Maybe the beginning of next week. But this week we're going to continue. We're going to do another lesson, maybe not tomorrow or maybe Thursday, and continue on these patterns. So you get the feeling of it. Now, I just like to add me to some of the patterns. But if we're going to go through the book the way it's presented. So what I would recommend, you have six patterns. Do each pattern, both right-handed and left-handed, as written, no accents. Stay with that. Okay? Now, I didn't write out number 7. That is going to come Thursday. So don't take it, if you want to take it upon yourself to go further in the book, go ahead. Okay? However, if you want, it's not going to destroy your learning. It's good to be creative, but I'm trying to teach you the way the book is, the way it's presented, step by step by step. Now, Rick knew what he was doing, the way he introduced the patterns, and he builds from the patterns. And there's a lot of good stuff in here, and perhaps a lot of terms that you gentlemen didn't are not familiar with. You know, the hi-hat open and close, fat back. Okay, so with that all being said, do we have any questions on anything that I've done so far, the first 6? No questions. Okay, I've been considering something here, and I want to know what the members who are on my site. I've been doing lessons 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. Monday through Thursday. That's 8 lessons. And what I get, I don't get any bad feedback. I get some positive construction. They say I do too many lessons. Now, they might be right. They might be wrong. I just love to do what I do. However, I thought about it, and they are right. Now, if I give you a mess of things to do today, this afternoon, and do a different lesson tonight, I've overwhelmed you with a whole mess of work. And I do the same thing tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday. So I'm thinking, if it's going to be better for everybody, if I cut it down from 4 days a week to do 2 days a week. I'd like to have your input on this, please. So guys, give me some input, okay? Now, there's so much to do, and you have so much time in the course of the day. I mean, I'm in the position now, that's all I do, is either teach or practice or write or broadcast. Some of the gentlemen here have a day gig or a night gig, and they have, like I said, 8-hour, 9-hour day. They're tired, and they don't have a consistent practice schedule, like 2 hours today, 2 hours tomorrow, if they're watching the broadcast. Now, I would really like to know what your position is. Instead of 4 days a week, 2 days a week. Let's see what Joe said. Well, that's the question I'm asking. The question I'm asking is, instead of me streaming 4 days a week, I'd like to cut it down to 2 days a week. Yes, that's the question, Joe. So I'm not going to do anything until I get a response. Anyway, other than answering that question, are there any questions on the lesson that you learned today, the 6 lines? Thank you, Randy. How about you, Robert, and Troy? And who is that? I can't pronounce your name. Ivaka K. My battery's running low. How's that? Okay. All right, so let me think about it. I'm going to see everybody tonight on my site, mattpatelalivelessons.com, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, like I said, you could purchase Rick, if you don't have the publication, you can purchase it on Hudson Music. And sometime next month in April, it will be available on my site as well. Okay, with all that being said, I need to sign off. Unless there's some questions. Okay, no questions? All right, I'll see everybody 7 p.m. tonight, my site. Have a good day. Oh, by the way, my soundboard came in, and I'm going to try and hook it up now, I think. I have to rearrange my whole studio. So now, tonight, we're going to have a drum pad lesson anyway. Okay? So have a good night. Good day. We'll see everybody tonight. All right, we'll work with rudiments now. We'll work with the lesson 25 and a 24 and a 26. Okay, guys, have a good night.